love to thank the choir for the special item of music. I hope in heaven I'll be able to sing too. Today I'm presenting a topic that I seldomly have time to present. Our church is so departmentalized that sometimes we miss things of this nation. The topic overwhelms me. Because the title is God on Trial. The question is, who is the accuser? What are the accusations? Who's going to be the judge when God is on trial? Who are the witnesses? And what will the verdict be? I'd like you to join me as we steadily unveil this topic. I've got one main text. It is in Romans chapter 3 verse 4. Let God be true and every man a liar. Thou mayest be justified in thy words and prevail when thou art judged. One translation says that you may win your case when you are tried. The story goes back to heaven. When the most exalted creature, the most honored angel, Lucifer, began to question God's government. He was first of the covering cherubs, holy and undefiled. The ceaseless beams of glory and that enshrouded eternal God was cast also upon him. He was perfect in beauty, full of wisdom. He was in the holy mountain of God. He walked among the stones of fire. Beautiful stones reflecting God's glory until iniquity was found in him. The word iniquity means duplicity, unholy ambition, lying and apostasy. His heart was lifted up because of his beauty. He corrupted his wisdom by reason of his brightness. You recall that he said, I will exalt myself above the throne of God. I'll be like the Most High God. This mentality is also reflected in the book Story of Redemption. written by Ellen G. White, that Satan actually wanted to be the first in heaven. He wanted to usurp God's power. And he said to himself that he was going to be equal to God. He planned this strategy very well. In the context of our discussion, we shall be presenting 3 deceptions which Satan put forward. He accused God of imposing unjust laws for the universe. He insinuated that he did not believe that even God would keep those laws. He charged his God of being a despot or a tyrant. He said God was autocratic and overbearing. God has taken too much power to himself. Now God's character was under question. Satan claimed equality of essence with God. Or intrinsic being with God. He viewed God as just another advanced creature that could be overcome by war. And the existence of divine law, with its implied penalty, he said it negates freedom. If God is holy, so are we. If he cannot make a mistake, we cannot make a mistake. And that's what Satan said. So he also disputed the supremacy of the Son of God. What would God do? He summoned his angels and explained the position of equality of Jesus to himself. He explained the true character of the law. So see, Lucifer had presented the purposes of God in a false light. Misconstruing and distorting them to excite dissent and dissatisfaction. Some angels believed and followed him. And God and the angels still loyal to him pleaded with Satan. They pleaded that he must go back to his loyalty to God. If you read the book Story of Redemption, you will discover that there was also a session which God had with Satan. His seat in the kingdom was still there for him. But this angel would not actually bow to God. This mighty revolter now declared that the angels who had united with him had gone too far to return. He knew that God would not forgive. That is now the second deception. Justice and mercy, he said, are incompatible. Uthi ke umthetho kunye nenceba zizinto ezingakwazi ukuba zibe zinokuhlangana. God cannot be true to himself and still forgive. Uthixo akanawunyaniseka esikhundleni sakhe de aphinde akwazi ukuxolela. Justice destroys mercy. Umthetho uyacinezela uxolele. And then that was the second deception. Satan now plans the fall of Adam and Eve. And he says if God forgives Adam, then he'll be forced to forgive us too. If he has to be true to himself. Now, God's character is in question. Now, we know that Adam and Eve sinned. Because Satan said, eat and your eyes will go open. And you shall be gods. When Eve yielded to the temptation, Satan thought he had proved his theory. He expected angels loyal to God now to follow him. You see, I told you that the law cannot be kept. Look at what had happened. Satan made it to appear that he was doing everything to promote the good of the universe. All evil he declared it to be the result of divine administration. Again, what would God do? God made himself available to the investigation of the universe. Instead of destroying Lucifer, he allowed him to work and continue to live until his works condemn him. God will not brought Satan out of existence yet. He will let him reap the results of his own sin. For God knows that sin is self-destructive. Satan's first shock was to learn that God is to save men at any cost to himself. He was willing to save men at the risk of eternal loss. The whole universe was amazed. You see, nothing less than God could save man. Sin issue is too deep, too broad, too high to be tackled by a creature. And the solution to the sin problem revealed that God had love deeper than his creature had ever understood. uThixo unothando olunzulu oludlula nasiphi na isidalwa esikhoyo ehlabathini. Brothers and sisters, there is a war that has been waged going on for the 6,000 years. Kunemfazwe ebeyiqhubeleka iminyaka engapha kwamawaka amathandathu. It is real between Christ and Satan. Satan is using what God cannot use. Lies, force, and God is using what Satan cannot use. Wisdom and love. And the battle is over the control of your mind. A general conference was held one time in heaven. The sons of God came from all over the universe. 10,000 times 10,000 and thousands of thousands. And from the planet Earth, there was one delegate. And since the Earth is the priority of the universe, he received the first attention, this delegate. And he was asked, where does he come from? And he said, from going to and from the planet Earth, from my kingdom. I walk up and down there, and the delegates were listening with interest. The chairperson asked the question to this delegate. Have you noticed my servant Job? That there is none like him. He is upright and blameless, loyal to me as his God, and turns away from evil. This delegate responded, yes, sir. But you have hedged his house, protected and blessed everything he possessed. Remove your protection and see what is going to happen. And the situation was becoming tense among other delegates, because they did not know what was going to happen. And the chairperson, God, says, go ahead and do as you please, only don't touch it. There was silence as this delegate stood up, leaving the meeting before the agenda was. Yes, that speak limited, so was coming down to earth. The oxen were taken by force, and the servant was slain. The sheep were burnt by fire, and all the servants but one. The camels were taken by Chaldeans, and except one. The children were accidentally killed when the house in which they were having a party collapsed or was blown down by the wind. And all the delegates in heaven are actually watching the battle is being waged. It is very interesting to notice how the book of Job is stated, the response of Job. We should look at Job chapter 1, verse 21 and 22. Job chapter 1. The Bible says that Job arose and rent his clothes and worshipped God. And if you look at verse 22, Job did not sin, and the devil was silenced. And the next meeting of the General Conference in heaven, probably it was the Autumn Council. Again, this delegate was there. But now he requested that if he can allow me to touch him, he will sin and test him. And Satan was allowed. But under that circumstances, instead of Job sinning, he said, I know by the dream I live. And this was the most important thing. Because in heaven, all angels were watching, and unfallen universe were watching this. It was proved that on earth there could be people who can stand for the truth at all times. God, who is compassionate, gracious, slow to anger, abounding in love and in mercy, who forgives sinners, who will by no means clear the guilt, continued with his work of saving man. And the battle was still going on. Now we understand that during the time of the Israelites, there was always this struggle around who is worshiping God. There was this the issue of theocracy versus the monarchy or the kings. Until the kings started ruling in Israel. And you can almost see that immediately after the second king, there was already a civil war in Israel. So the Old Testament is an Old Testament of ups and downs among the Israelites. Sometimes they come so close to God, sometimes they become so far from God. Eventually Christ came. The book of Desire of Ages, it says when Christ came, the stamp of demons were reflected in the very faces of the people. Light was struggling against darkness. And when Christ came, Satan decided that he would not delegate to any of his subordinates the work of tempting Christ. Eventually Christ was sent to the cross. We need to see why Christ died on the cross. We read, Christ died on the cross to give death stroke to Satan. To conquer him. Christ ruled as he died. Number two, Christ died to break forever the accusing power of Satan. This accusation over the universe and silence his charges. Self-denial was impossible with God. He would silence his charges that self-denial was impossible with God. And therefore not essential to human beings. Number three, Christ died to mask or to reveal Satan's right to the universe. Not until the death of Christ was the character of Satan clearly revealed to the angels. And to the unfallen world. You see, Satan had clothed himself with the deception. Angels could not clearly see the nature of his rebellion. The unveiling of Satan's character was the most difficult. Because he held an exalted post in heaven. It is very interesting to me to know that the angels that remained loyal to God in heaven did not have all things clear in their minds until Christ died on the cross. So for 4,000 years, Christ was working for man's uplifting, but Satan was working for man's ruin. And the whole universe beheld it all. All heaven and the unfallen worlds had been witnesses to the controversy. We asked the question at the beginning. Who's the accuser? It is Satan. We have asked the question. We find that the whole universe is the witness to the great controversy. And Christ was on the cross. Read volume 7A of Bible commentary. It says justice, meaning God, moved from his exalted position. The armies of holiness drew near the cross, and when justice saw one equal with God expiring, justice bowed down with reverence, and he said, "I'm satisfied." Satan saw that his disguise was torn away. His administration was laid open before the unfallen angels. And before the heavenly universe. Meaning therefore all the witnesses. He had revealed himself as a murderer. By shedding the blood of the Son of God, he had uprooted himself from the sympathies of the heavenly beings. His work was now restricted. He could no longer await the angels as they come from the heavenly courts. The last link of sympathy between Satan and the heavenly being world was broken. And Jesus said, "I saw Satan falling as a lightning." In Revelation it says he was cast out. But still Satan is not destroyed. Why? The angels did not even then understood all that was involved in the great controversy. The principles at stake were to be more fully revealed. And for the sake of man, Satan's existence must be continued. Man as well as the angels must see the contrast between the Prince of Light and the Prince of Darkness. He must choose whom he must serve. So despite all of this, there was still some sympathy in heaven about Satan. He proved himself a murderer on the cross. And the last link of sympathy was removed. Now we are coming close to the judgment. Or to the verdict. We still have some benefits of redemption. The unfallen angels and us share the benefit of the cross of Christ. The cross confirms their loyalty to God. The cross was designed to place a safeguard around them. Not around us only. So the cross is central to the controversy in the whole universe. But God must win his case when he's tried. He's still on trial. But now the cross prepared the way for the third deception. Satan's first deception said God is autocratic. He's a despot.
Lord.
He's a tyrant. The second one says justice destroys mercy. And suddenly after the cross, Satan comes now that discussion. Now mercy destroys justice. Before he said justice destroys mercy. And now he says mercy destroys justice. Now how does God prove himself he wins in this one? Let us look reflectively in what we already know. We already know that there is a pre-advent judgment going on in heaven. And probation is going to be closed. But something is very interesting. When you read the book of Revelation, when the plagues are falling upon those who do not want to listen to God's word, the book of Revelation says, "Sing, just and true are your ways, O God." The angels are pronouncing a judgment in favor of God. There it has become clear to their minds that God is king. They are no longer questioning the Creator. They are satisfied. And the saints are taken to heaven one day when Jesus comes. They become judges when they arrive in heaven. When they are in front of the sea of grass, they also sing the song just and true, pronouncing judgment in favor of God. Because God has made himself available to the investigation of the universe. But it does not end there. There is still Satan. There are his angels. There are still the wicked people. They will all be dead by that time. So something must happen. Because God must be proved right when he's judged. After 1,000 years, the New Jerusalem comes down from heaven. God and with his saints, it will sit upon the Mount of Olives. The wicked are resurrected. Satan resumes his deceptive work. Therefore are made again. They charge towards the New Jerusalem. By the directive of Christ, the gates are closed. But Christ's throne is elevated above the city. Christ is coronated again. And the great controversy, almost like a feeling, is shown above the New Jerusalem. Wicked, including Satan, cannot hide their eyes. And everyone sees the part he has played in the great controversy. And in the book Great Controversy, page 670, Satan sees that his voluntary rebellion has unfitted him for heaven. He has strained his powers to war against God. The purity, peace, and harmony of heaven would be to him a supreme torture. His accusation against mercy and justice of God are now silenced. The reproach which he has endeavored to cast upon Jehovah rests wholly upon himself. Listen to this one. And now Satan bows down and confesses the justice of his sentence. It is at that time that God will also ask him a question. What made you to rebel against my government and rob me of my subjects? It is stated in the spirit of prophecy that Satan was speechless. He could not answer the accusation. With all the facts of the great controversy in view, the whole universe, both the loyal and rebellious, with one accord, they sing one song, just and true, both the wicked and the righteous. It comes here, and all flesh shall stay together. The Lord of the Lord shall be revealed. And that song again comes back with much interest. Because the truth of God has been revealed. God is justified. The wicked pass judgment upon themselves. One writer says, the wicked shout amen to their own eternal condemnation and destruction.